It was just another average day on RuneScape. I was tracking a large new bot farm that was, very unfortunately, named after me. My morale was low. These botters are clearly openly mocking me. But then, tip-off came in, and the day quickly stopped being average. This player had noticed something peculiar. He was using his alt account's player-owned house when he spotted a large number of low levels with a high fishing level at the house portal with another account, Pomona 11, and they all entered the portal. He tried to join Pomona 11's house and was surprised to find that he was able to enter. And the house setup was very basic, with nothing but 2 empty rooms and a tip jar. All of the fishing accounts were running to the tip jar and then exiting while Pomona 11 watched. This was on World 465, which is a player-owned house world, but obviously everyone uses World 330. So he decided to sit there and wait, and later on, another account, OSRSMS1, logged in and did something very similar, this time with just one singular account though. Both Pomona 11 and OSRSMS1 were very low-level accounts with basically no notable stats other than 4D construction, which is needed for a tip jar. Clearly, there's some suspicious muling going on through tip jars in player-owned houses. So I decided to camp the house portal in Remington on World 465 to see what I could find. The mules also seem to have their privates on to let other people into their house without having to add them as friends. So I hopped into 465 and went east of the portal into a building to observe players coming and going from the portal. The next day, I woke up and hopped on, and OSRSMS1 was logged in, so I rushed over to the portal and hopped into the account's house. And OSRSMS1 was not alone. An account named Tony Force walked to the tip jar right when I entered. The account had basic level 40 stats and some LMS rank. It looked like the stats were probably leveled up to get the total level requirement for LMS. Maybe it was an LMS bot. And I watched as Tony Force put stuff in the tip jar. Then the mule walks over to the tip jar and the suspected bot teleports out.
Oh hi Sirpugger, hope you have a VPN up, haha.
Thanks for the reminder, random bot farm mule, but I always have my ExpressVPN on. And that's because when I'm connected to ExpressVPN servers, my IP address is masked. This is a great protection from repeated DDoS attacks. And while you're connected, all of your data is encrypted so anyone with malicious intent can't see your data. ExpressVPN also has hundreds of servers across dozens of countries worldwide. And it's incredibly easy to set up. All you have to do is select one of their servers and click connect. It should take about 3 to 5 seconds, and there you are, connected. ExpressVPN also developed their own open source protocol called Lightweight, which makes them one of the fastest VPNs out there with minimal impact to your ping. So, find out how you can get 3 months for free by going to www.expressvpn.com/sirpugger. Thanks to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. Okay, what really happened here is OSRSMS1 just walked to the tip jar and then left the portal and logged out. But I decided to stick around, and 30 minutes later, this account logged in, Mog Ebo. Basically, it just had high melee stats in low requirement gear, like no quest requirements, with 40 construction. But that didn't go anywhere, it logged out. A couple hours later though, OSRSMS1 logs in and immediately uses a teletab and then hops worlds to World 470, which is a free-to-play world. So the account had likely teleported to Varrock, Falador, or Lumbridge since it immediately hopped to a free-to-play world, and I checked Lumbridge first and was right. It was trading another level 3 account in Lumbridge Courtyard, and then it hopped back to 465, where I eventually tracked it down to the Grand Exchange. This time, a low level with level 116 Hunter traded it. I'm guessing that's a Black Chin gold farmer, and the mule promptly logged out. Very suspicious behavior. 2 more hours of camping though, and an account named Smite Slayer hops on. It had a lot of different stats, but its 41 construction caught my eye, and I hopped into his house. Clearly, it was another mule setup. There were no other accounts around, so I hopped back out in case he would try to kick me out while I was in there, and I waited to see if any suspicious accounts came by. Pretty quickly, an account with basic Song of the Elves stat requirements and level 113 thieving hopped on and entered his house. So I hopped in too, and I was beginning to think this was a much larger operation than I had considered. There could be dozens or hundreds of mules just waiting in their player-owned houses for bots to enter and tip the mule. And that's right when Smite Slay kicked me out of the house and locked it. Clearly they didn't like it that I was there, but I waited on a different account, and a couple minutes later, another similar thieving account logged in, but wasn't accessing Smite's house right away, probably because it was locked. I was hoping he would unlock it to let this account in, mainly so that I could confirm this account was actually part of the whole operation. And I was right, Smite unlocked his account to let this account in, and I immediately hopped in too. But again, he kicked me within a couple seconds. Eventually, OSRSMS1 hopped back online, and I waited in his house to see who would come in. While I was waiting, I noticed Smite Slay hopped to World 480 and also changed his name to Demon something. Now that I knew the mules had real people controlling them and that they'd kick me if they saw me in their houses, the strategy was to wait by the portal until one of them logged in and immediately enter their house before they did, and go to the border of the house so I could spy on them from a distance. Which is how I ended up watching this level 3 Raz 120 mule with OSRSMS1. Then I tracked the mule back to Lumbridge, where I saw it trading a max 2k total level player. And while I watched, accounts resembling the Skulled Revenant bots I've been making videos about started logging in, some skulled and some not, and traded with the mule OSRSMS1. And they had similar stat patterns to the Revenant bots I'd seen. Although I'm not sure why they didn't mind muling in Lumbridge versus through the tip jar. Like, if the tip jar actually makes it so the Jagex didn't detect you muling, why are you trading in Lumbridge? The longer I waited at the portal in World 465, the more mules I caught hopping into their houses. Most of the accounts on my friends list are mules with just that 40 construction to create tip jars in their houses. All sorts of accounts were depositing gold in these different mules' houses. Some were just very high level with lots of boss KC. Some had seemingly random stats except maybe high magic like this one. I saw multiple Black Chinchampa gold farmers with crazy high hunter as well. A few days later, my friends list had grown incredibly long with all of these mules' names. And another mule, I'm guessing it's owned by the same people as OSRSMS1, this one's called OSRSHP1, I tracked the Grand Exchange, where one by one it was trading high-level accounts that all had insanely high Zulrah kill count, between 2,000 and 7,500 Zulrah kill count each. So at this point we've seen probably some gold farmers deposit coins, and also these accounts trading a variety of bot farms, which makes me think these accounts themselves aren't running the bot farms or aren't gold farming. These accounts must be operating some sort of gold market. And then I spotted a different account. Fidayo logged in right outside the portal. A highish level account in full rune and a whip, which immediately was kind of sus. All it had was high melee stats and 40 construction, so I added him and hopped into his house before he did so I could skirt around the outskirts. Pretty quickly he came into the house and other accounts started hopping in. There was a level 90 with really random stats, and then a low level with basically just 64 hunter. Looks pretty similar to eclectic impling bots I've found before. And then there was this account, Impor12. It came in and tipped Fidayo, or Fideo, I don't know. But Impor12 is one of the mules I'd already been tracking. I spotted other accounts tipping it earlier that day. So Fideo was being tipped by another mule, a mule of mules of sorts. So we were getting deeper into the mule hierarchy. This was the point where I was like, maybe I should talk to the anti-cheating team. So I sent off the mule usernames to Jagex and noted that Fideo might be one of the bigger fish here. The anti-cheating team banned lots of accounts involved and told me that Fideo had 3.5 billion GP on it at the time of the ban. They also said that tons of different types of accounts supplied this one account from a variety of random farms. The anti-cheating team also told me these accounts were likely gold sellers, and I was witnessing them being supplied. So I was right, they do likely run a gold marketplace. Each transfer of gold I witnessed was anywhere between 100 to 600 mil, depending on the farm that was supplying the account. So that's one mule. Now just imagine the dozen or so other mules I found. Some might be affiliated with Fideo, but many probably don't all funnel their gold into the same account. So if there were 10 Fideos out there, in this operation alone, there's clearly billions of gold being bought and sold every single day. I can't specify any number, I'd just be guessing. And all of this was caught because a player noticed something strange and decided to report it. A huge shout out to Sicklesmith for tipping me off to this. In other news, someone tipped me off to a bot farm, probably Black Chins or Eclectic Implings, starting off by training their hunter at the Falconry Pen. The accounts have 10 HP, 20 magic, 9 slayer, and 48 hunting, all combat level 12. 1 or 2 in every single world. And the tip-off actually explained how one might go about breaking these bots. Before the bot can, you have to basically catch the kebbit that's nearest to the bot, but then don't retrieve the falcon. The bot breaks down and is stuck spam clicking the kebbit that is yours to collect. Obviously though, I'm not just gonna sit here and watch a couple bots spam click something, although it was tempting. The real question though is, who is making bots named after me? I think I've gotten over 100 messages about it from viewers. Whoever is doing this, please reach out. I would love to chat about your naming choices. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and make sure to subscribe. We're coming up on 350,000, which is a huge milestone for me.